My husband's side chick messaged me. He picked me, not you. Instead of replying, I transferred every dollar, froze his cards, and left him a goodbye note. The next day, she called, furious, he's broke. What did you do? I smiled, enjoy your prize. My husband, Mark, and I have been together for 8 years. We live in a cozy home in the suburbs of Chicago. Our marriage had its ups and downs, but I believed we had a strong bond. That belief was shattered last Tuesday. I was at home, folding laundry, when my phone buzzed with a new text message. It was from an unknown number. Curious, I opened it. The message read, he picked me, not you. Attached was a photo of Mark and a woman, laughing together at a restaurant I didn't recognize. They were seated close, their faces inches apart, sharing what seemed to be an inside joke. My heart raced. My hands trembled. I felt a mix of anger, betrayal, and sadness. Who was this woman? And why was she sending me this? I didn't respond. Instead, I sat down to think. Reacting impulsively wouldn't help. I needed a plan. Over the years, I'd managed our finances. Mark earned well, but he preferred I handle the bills, savings, and investments. This arrangement now played to my advantage. First, I logged into our joint bank account. Seeing the balance, I transferred every dollar into an account solely in my name. I knew the legal implications, but at that moment, I needed control. Next, I accessed our credit card accounts. I froze his cards, ensuring he couldn't rack up more debt. After securing the finances, I packed a suitcase with essentials. I left my wedding ring on the dresser and wrote a short note. Mark, I know. Goodbye. Placing the note beside the ring, I took one last look around our home, memories flooding back, then walked out the door. I checked into a hotel downtown, needing space to process everything. The next morning, as I sipped the complimentary coffee, my phone rang. It was the same number from the previous day. What did you do? She demanded, her voice shrill with panic. He's broke. He doesn't have access to any money. I couldn't help but smirk. Enjoy your prize, I replied calmly before ending the call. Mark tried reaching out multiple times, leaving voicemails and texts, all of which I ignored. I sought legal counsel and began the process of filing for divorce. Friends and family were supportive, rallying around me during this tumultuous time. Through this experience, I learned the importance of self-respect and taking control in the face of betrayal. While the pain of Mark's infidelity lingered, I found solace in knowing I stood up for myself and took decisive action. The road ahead was uncertain, but I was determined to navigate it on my own terms. 2 days after the call from her, I thought that was the end of it. I figured she'd be too busy figuring out how to deal with a grown man who suddenly couldn't pay for his dinner, his gas, or his own phone bill. I was wrong. That Friday, I got a knock at the hotel room door around 10:30 p.m. I wasn't expecting anyone, so I checked the peephole. It was Mark. I didn't open it. I just stood there, watching him knock again. Then again. And then harder. Claire, he said, his voice muffled through the door. Please. Just open the door. He sounded tired. Desperate. I didn't say anything. I backed away from the door and sat down on the edge of the bed. My phone buzzed. A text from him. I'm sorry. Please. Can we talk? I didn't answer. He stayed outside the door for another 10 minutes before giving up. I heard his footsteps fade down the hallway. I waited another hour before I finally let myself cry again. The next morning, I found a dozen missed calls and 4 voicemails. I didn't listen to them. But I saw another message, this time from a new number. So, now he's crying to you? He told me you'd be cool with it. I guess he lied to both of us. I stared at that message for a long time. So she thought he had warned me? That I was just the wife who'd accept an affair like some side deal? I didn't even reply. That weekend, I stayed in bed. My brain was fried and everything was still spinning. Then came Monday. I had my first meeting with the lawyer. I walked into that office building in downtown Chicago like I was wearing armor. We went through the finances, the accounts, the home, everything. Then the lawyer said something I didn't expect. Do you know there's a second mortgage on the house? What? There's a second loan. Taken out 4 months ago. 40 grand. I stared at her. My chest went cold. No, that's not possible. We never did that. I would have known. I manage all of it. She pulled up the document. There was Mark's signature. Just his. I didn't even know he'd gone behind my back like that. I felt like the air had been sucked out of the room. 40 grand. Where did it go? I didn't even have to ask. That night, I went home, not back to the hotel. I wanted to see it. Our house. My house. I still had a key. When I opened the door, the place looked like it hadn't been cleaned in days. Pizza boxes, beer bottles, his hoodie on the couch. But something was off. I walked into our bedroom. The closet door was open. Half my clothes were gone. Not by me. Then I checked the bathroom. My perfume, makeup bag, razor, gone. She'd been there. She was living there. I sat down on the edge of the bed and tried to stay calm. I pulled out my phone and opened the doorbell cam app. I scrolled back a week. There she was. Smiling, walking up to the front door in some tight jeans and carrying a gym bag. She punched in the code. My code. Mark gave her the code. He let her move in. I sat there staring at the screen, heart pounding. This wasn't just an affair anymore. This was a takeover. But it got worse. 2 days later, Mark filed an emergency motion in court. He was trying to block me from moving more funds. His lawyer argued I was emotionally unstable and impulsive, citing my hotel stay as proof I'd abandoned the marriage. I was being painted as the problem. Me. That same day, the woman messaged me again. You can freeze accounts, but you can't freeze love. He's here. With me. You'll lose him and the house. I didn't answer. I just screen capped it. My lawyer would need it. But here's the kicker. That night, a friend from Mark's job messaged me on Facebook. She said she wasn't sure she should get involved, but she'd seen something. Apparently, Mark had been bringing this woman around the office for months. Telling people they were dating. Acting like we were already divorced. No one knew we were still married. No one knew I was still in the picture. He rewrote our story before I even had a chance to end it. And now? I don't even know what the next step is. I'm fighting for what's mine while he plays house with a woman who thinks love is measured by bank access. 2 days after the emergency court motion, I sat alone in the hotel room with legal paperwork spread across the bed. My lawyer warned me it might get worse before it gets better, but nothing could have prepared me for what came next. I got a call from the bank. Hi, Mrs. Reynolds. We're calling to verify a wire transfer initiated this morning to a private account in the Cayman Islands. The amount is $9,850. We flagged it because it's unusual based on your account history. I felt my stomach drop. I hadn't authorized anything. I asked for the last 4 digits of the account requesting the transfer. It was one of the accounts I had frozen. Somehow Mark had gotten around it. Or someone helped him. I told the bank it was unauthorized, and they froze the transfer immediately, pending investigation. I hung up and called my lawyer, who suggested I check for any additional financial activity. Turns out, the $40,000 loan wasn't just sitting in some hidden account. Part of it had gone toward business expenses. A new LLC was registered in his name, except the business address wasn't our home. It was a P.O. box in Naperville. And guess who was listed as a consultant on the registration? Her. The side chick. Her real name was Tasha. I only found that out from the business doc. Up until then, she was just her. But there she was, tied to Mark in more ways than I thought. The next twist came fast. Tasha showed up at my hotel. Yes, at my actual hotel. I was coming back from Walgreens with snacks and saw her standing near the front desk. Tight black jeans, crop top, fake lashes for days, like she was about to shoot a music video. She spotted me instantly and walked up with that smug look. I figured you'd be here, she said, crossing her arms. You stalking me now? I asked, already walking past her. You really think you can keep him with money games? She hissed, following me toward the elevator. He's gonna win. And when the judge sees what you did, freezing the accounts, running off, He'll take everything. I turned around and laughed right in her face. Not because it was funny, but because it was pathetic. You think a judge is going to give a man playing house with his mistress the moral high ground? You think because he gave you a few credit cards, that makes you a wife? I didn't wait for her response. I stepped into the elevator and hit the button. As the doors closed, she screamed, "He loves me." Yeah. Okay. That night, I reviewed security footage with hotel management and reported her to the front desk. They banned her from the building. 2 days later, another twist. Mark lost his job. I didn't even find out from him. HR at his company called me. Apparently, they had to confirm the address listed on some insurance documents. His employer found out he'd been bringing Tasha around the office, lying about our marital status, and then using company funds for personal dinners with her. He violated company policy and was fired on the spot. Now he was unemployed, broke, and trying to sue me for spousal support. Yes, really. His lawyer submitted a request for temporary alimony, saying he had no source of income and I left him financially stranded. He claimed emotional distress, loss of housing stability, and, get this, reputational damage due to my vindictive actions. I wanted to scream, but instead, I sent my lawyer the proof of the wire fraud attempt, the business filings, the hotel confrontation, the threatening texts from Tasha, and screenshots from the doorbell cam showing her moving in before I ever left. Let them try. And while all of that was unraveling in court, a new piece of information came out. Something Mark never expected me to find. He had a second phone. A whole second number. Prepaid. And guess who gave it to me? His own brother. I hadn't spoken to his brother in months. But apparently, after hearing what happened and seeing how Mark was crashing his life for a woman half his age, he felt guilty for not stepping in. I found it in his gym bag, he told me. I don't want to be part of his circus anymore. I powered on the phone. Messages. Dozens of them. Not just to Tasha, but to other women. Some before he met her. Some while they were together. He had a pattern. He told one woman he was divorced. Another that I was crazy and in therapy. One woman even sent him photos from her vacation in Miami. He told her he missed her and wished he was there. This wasn't an affair. This was a lifestyle. Mark was addicted to being adored. He wasn't looking for love. He was collecting women like trophies and burning every bridge in the process. The court battle was just starting. But now I had everything I needed. I wasn't just going after divorce anymore. I was going after the truth. 3 weeks after I powered on that second phone, I was ready. My lawyer filed a full motion with all the evidence, the texts from multiple women, the wire fraud attempt, the fake business, the second mortgage, the hotel confrontation, everything. We also included character statements from his own brother and 2 coworkers who saw what he'd been doing. A court date was set. But before we got there, things exploded on their own. It was a Sunday. I had agreed to meet Mark at our house, my house, now in my name only after an emergency order granted me temporary ownership until divorce was finalized. He wanted to talk, and for once, I agreed. I wanted to see his face. I wanted to hear what lies he'd try this time. He was waiting outside when I pulled up. Looked thinner. Sweaty. Messy beard like he hadn't slept right in weeks. I got out. He immediately started talking. Claire, look, I messed up. I know that. But what you're doing, it's too far. You're trying to ruin me. I'm protecting myself, I said, walking right past him and unlocking the door. We sat in the living room, both on opposite ends of the couch. Tension thick enough to choke on. She left me, he blurted. I looked at him. Tasha, she said I was too heavy. That the drama wasn't worth it. I couldn't help it, I laughed. I laughed so hard I had to wipe tears. Not because it was funny, but because it was so absurd. You blew up your entire life, I said, for someone who bailed the moment her credit cards got declined. She said you turned her into a joke, he mumbled. No, Mark. You did that. Then, he looked at me, like really looked, and said the one thing I didn't expect, you were the only real thing I ever had. I froze. That one sentence hit me somewhere deep and cold. Because I was real. I was the one who held him through layoffs, nursed him when he had surgery, built a home with him, managed every damn detail of our life while he played pretend with other women. And now? Now he wanted my sympathy? That's when it happened. His phone buzzed. I watched him glance down, hesitate, and flip it over. Old habits die hard. I reached over, grabbed it, and saw the message. Let me know if she takes you back. I'm not waiting forever. C, who's C? I asked. My voice was dead calm. He didn't answer. Who is C? He sighed. Just someone. From work. Mark. Are you still doing this? I don't know how to stop, he admitted. That was it. The moment. The final nail. You're not sorry, I said. You're just sorry you got caught. You didn't want to change, you wanted options. And now you've lost all of them. He stood up. So that's it? You're just done. I stood too. I was done the moment she texted me. He picked me. You've been gone since before that. You just never had the guts to tell me. He didn't yell. He didn't cry. He just nodded. Like something in him finally understood it was over. Then he left. 2 weeks later, the divorce was finalized. He didn't contest anything. Not after I sent the final email, a full document detailing every woman, every lie, every dollar he tried to hide, with screenshots, and CC'd his lawyer. The aftermath? His reputation? Ruined. Mutual friends dropped him. His family didn't want to be involved. His brother helped me move into a new place and offered to testify if needed. He told me he was sorry he didn't speak up sooner. My lawyer hugged me when it was over. Said she rarely saw a case so open and shut. I stood outside the courthouse and looked up at the sky. It was gray, overcast, typical Chicago in spring. But I felt lighter. Like I'd been holding my breath for years, and finally exhaled. The emotional fallout didn't hit all at once. It trickled in. I cried the first time I cooked dinner alone. I cried when I saw an old hoodie in a moving box. I cried when my Spotify played our old song by mistake. But I also felt something else. Relief. Because I hadn't just left a man. I left a cycle. A version of myself that accepted less than she deserved. People talk about cheating like it's just sex. But it's lies. It's erosion. It's waking up one day and realizing the person you loved was never really there in the way you thought. If there's one thing I've learned, it's this. You don't win by staying strong for someone who doesn't choose you every day. You win by choosing yourself. Do I hate him? No. I feel sorry for him. For the man who had everything and needed more. For the man who confused desire with value. Will I love again? Maybe. Maybe not. But I know this, I will never, ever be someone's backup plan again. And to anyone reading this who's been through it, or is going through it now, you're not crazy. You're not dramatic. You're not too much. You're just finally seeing things clearly. And that's the beginning of everything.